All right, now, everybody. Quiet, listen to me. We're going to start a show. Now, some of you people have been with me before. You know it's going to be a tough grind. But we're going to have a show.
And greetings all. You can see the lovely Kim is here. Also Albert.
Thank you.
The crew is in tow. We haven't yet had to take a vote and vote any of our crew off our island, but there has been a vote, and George Santos has been voted off of his island.
What?
Yeah,
Sayonara, sucker.
Yeah, in the it is true. In the survivor of the House of Representatives,
Sayonara,
it
sucker.
was sayonara, sucker, for George Santos. I'll share with you some of his remarks on the House floor prior to his removal. The vote for removal, as you know, it was pretty clear the guy was in violation of every ethics rule, and believe me, the ethics rules in the House and in the Senate are fairly flexible. There's a lot of corruption, but he had gone too far, that George Santos, even for the largely corrupt crew in the House and Senate. The Senate's not involved in this, of course, but so the House voted him out. And as I say, we'll share some of his remarks prior to the vote with you in a moment. Also, pretty big news. The passing of Sandra Day O'Connor, the first woman to be on the Supreme Court. That happened, and it happened right along the heels of something else that was sort of I guess you could call it sort of historic, which was the, I'll call it debate or whatever it was last night, the food fight between Gavin Newsom, governor of California, and Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida.
What a train wreck. Man.
Did you watch the entire thing or catch a lot of it in replay? Or, I mean, did you see much of it?
I started watching it, and I was very excited. And then my husband came in and said, "Why? How can you watch this? They're yelling and talking over each other."
That's why I'm watching it. Are you kidding?
Yeah, that's why I was too. He had to leave the room. He was like, "I can't do it."
No.
Okay, whatever.
Wow.
So I made it, I would say halfway through before I checked out.
Sure. Trainwreck says Sharon Kidd. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lori on the Santos thing says, I just kind of wonder if GOP would have kept him if he was straight. Oh, he wasn't straight? I didn't know that. He was, well, whatever. Yeah. Did Santos steal enough money while in office, or is he broke now? He's got a lot of money. He may have to use different credit card numbers for the GoFundMe, the OnlyFans site. There's a lot going on today. It's our big Friday show. We do Friday Fabulous Florida, bottom of the hour, and Albert has curated it. How do you feel about it today, Commish? Are you feeling like this is a particularly good iteration of Friday Fabulous Florida?
Albert, thank you.
It's a little dark this week, actually. It's not
really?
as crazy. It's a crazy in different ways, but it's a little dark.
Oh, wow. All right. Just got our first order from Coachella Valley, says Lee Kopp. Lee is a great supporter of the show, Lee and Eileen. Supports us through Patreon, supports us with other donations, and supports our sponsor, Coachella Valley Coffee. Anyway, just got our first order from Coachella Valley Coffee, says Lee. Sunrise blend for us. I always tell you, you should pick the beans that are right for you. Pick the beans that are right for you. The sunrise blend for us, he says, and some French roast for Eileen's sister. Drank our first cup with breakfast this morning. So good, he says. 2 thumbs up.
It was great. I loved it.
I am so glad. I love this stuff.
It's fantastic.
It's CoachellaValleyCoffee.com, and you get 10% off as a viewer, listener of this show. Use Mark T at checkout, and you'll get that discount. Albert, share with the boys and girls, if you would, please, a little bit of the Santos speech on the floor of the House. This is historic, so...
The Mark Thompson Show.
Let's hear a little bit of what George Santos said prior to the vote on his removal.
The most damning feature of this farce
is the total perversion of the priorities of this body and this conference.
I don't
To
think
ran
you
on the
should
commitment
apologize
to
for how you feel.
America. Yes, witch hunting George Santos is great right there. I remember that on the top line of the commitment to America. This conference has failed to pass 4 different appropriations bills, Mr. Speaker. It had rules fail on the floor. We had members weaponizing the Rules Committee because it didn't do what they wanted. Our borders are wide open. It's no man's land being run by NGOs.
He's saying, don't pay attention to my corruption. We have other
Congress
problems
has
in this
now
country
taken-
besides my corruption.
What aboutism?
Yeah. He really isn't speaking to his corruption. He's speaking to the fact that, and he's not wrong, that the country's got other problems. Right. It's exactly correct. So you can see where that's going. And he did say, hey, take the vote. He said, I'm not scared to take the vote. People are asking me, this is in prior remarks.
Morning.
He says, yeah, look, people are asking me to resign, whatever. I'm not resigning. So if you want me out, then vote to remove me. So Albert, share with us the vote and what happened. It was historic.
With that, Santos is now a former member of Congress. He is the 6th member of the House to be expelled in all of American history. Here are the other 5. You could add Santos to this list and just think about the gravity of what it took to expel these members in the past. These 3 you see in the top row here, all 1861. That was the start of the Civil War. Each one of them took up arms for the Confederacy. They were expelled from the House. Michael Myers from Pennsylvania in 1980. He had been snared in the FBI sting operation known as Abscam, accepted a $50,000 bribe, used to resign his seat. He was expelled. And then in 2002, James Traficant from Ohio, colorful member of Congress. He had been convicted of multiple federal corruption charges in the spring of 2002. In the summer of 2002, the House voted 420-1 to expel him. So those are the 5 who this has happened to before. Santos becomes the 6th. There are a few others in history who have faced expulsion votes but haven't actually been expelled. Santos was hoping to join this company today, but it is this list instead that he joins. 6 in American history. You just saw the 6th moments ago.
It's a walk through corruption time in the House, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. Yes. All those who took arms up against the nation, and then those who just wanted to line their pockets with their newly found power. It's terrific.
Shameful and embarrassing to join that cast of characters in history and be expelled from Congress. And yet, many people would walk away in shame and, long for now historical obscurity. But Santos probably will not. He probably thinks there's nothing wrong with what he did, and he's still living in some land of denial in his head.
No, he knows that there's something wrong with what he did. I mean, he
has no shame. No shame at all.
There may be no shame, but it's not. He's well aware that he shouldn't be doing it. I mean, if he wasn't aware of what he was doing, being afoul of the law, then he would have addressed it in his remarks. Mm-hmm. Instead, he goes, oh, look at all the other problems that we have in this nation. I mean, one I would have loved to have at least have had a little of the
Liar, your pants are on fire!
Yeah, we needed that in the flow. Where was the liar, your pants are on fire?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Call me a liar. Is that what you call me?
I'm just saying.
You, sir, are a liar.
Right. We needed some of that on the floor of the House. I also feel as though he was maybe one apology.
You are a cover-up artist and you are a liar.
Yes, I would have taken any of those. But didn't you feel, Albert, he needed a Tubin-esque apology at some point, and he just couldn't muster it? This is to Kim's point. Kim, I disagree. I think he knew what he was doing was illegal. But maybe he didn't. I mean, he didn't hit us with the...
There is no defense for my conduct.
He needed a Tubin...
My bad. I'm sorry.
No, that's... The whoopee is...
It was wrong, it was stupid, and I'm trying to be a better person.
That's what he needed. A profound apology. I mean, we are the show that knows apologies, okay? We understand apologies. It's in the bylaws and the DNA of this show to understand appropriate apologies. And he just never mustered any of them. Randy says, here, I'll fix Santos' speech. I'm a deplorable human being and I deserve to be kicked out. Wow. Well, I mean, that's one take on it.
Tell your little friends, the dreams do come true.
I don't know. People did want him out. So hopefully all of you...
How would you handle this? We could try ignoring it, sir.
They did ignore a lot of his lies before he took office. You'll remember, we did chapter and verse on him. Heather says, being delusional is... Being Delulu is the only Salulu. That's great. Yeah. Being Delulu is the only Salulu. Wow.
Girl, you just woo.
Yeah, girl, that was strong.
I would have tried to use the lying powers for good. Like, hey, I tricked all of you guys I made it this far with all my lies. Imagine what if I could use that for something good. So we should have probably tried that.
Ooh, it's a wild idea, but it just might work.
I like that strategy. My bad, I misspoke.
He needed something.
Right.
He needed something at that point.
Jim says, my bad, I misspoke.
My bad, I'm sorry.
My words offended so many people. That's right.
My words upset so many people.
It's true. Thank you, Jim. We ran through the apologies for you. He had them all there on the Cheesecake Factory menu of apologies. And he couldn't muster any of them. Anyway, Santos is out. It is big news. It also takes the narrow margin of the House down one vote, and I will speak with Michael Shure about that in the second hour. It's pretty big news. In fact, as you know, I sort of said, hey, I can see an argument for pure bare-knuckled politics in keeping George Santos, if you're the GOP, and overlooking it because you need his vote. But it was just a bridge too far. Winthrop with a super chat. Come on, big shout out. Big shout out for the super chat. We're on an annual road trip to Georgia, Mark, and back for the Thanksgiving holidays. Thanks for helping to keep me sane in our travels to the Deep South. All right, Winthrop.
Big shout out.
Big shout out. Thank you. It's great to have you in the mix. In that spirit, I got this in after hours commenting. I always say if you're listening in replay or watching in replay, please leave comments, and we were all too happy to get this one from Sea Star Lady. Mark, my husband and I are in our 30s, and we love your show. Loyal listeners since the KGO days. This is about the demographics of the show. I was saying that we had a 31-year-old guy say, hey, I'm 31, and I feel like most of your listeners may be older than I am. How does it all shake out? So we were saying, we have a lot of older listeners, older than 31, but he was saying, I feel like I'm one of the younger listeners. There are people in their 30s, and so
we welcome everyone, though.
We like the older boys and girls, the younger boys and girls, all faiths and all types are welcome here. Our doors are always open, and they're wide open today on a Friday. It is perhaps our most open day. Santos Claus, this is a cool one from Walter. Santos Claus is just in competition with Trumpolumpagus to see who can get the most frequent liar miles. It is true that Trump is... I still feel as though Trump is on the gold medal stand for
I think I'm the most honest human being, perhaps that God ever created.
No offense, but I think that there's a...
and this is their new hoax.
He's good at the denial, man. Trump is strong with the denial. He doesn't do distraction. He does, I did everything right, I don't know what you're talking about. Perfect call.
I did everything right, and they indicted me.
Exactly. That's his play. So he has a very different play than Santos is more like, hey, you guys have other bigger fish to fry than getting rid of me. But I like that we can compare those who are. And look, Spencer points this out, and I'm glad he did. I was just about to say it. Democrats are running their own little ethical deal on
Menendez,
Yeah, Menendez and his gold bars. F him too, says Spencer. Yeah.
Agree. Absolutely.
F him. Right. Yeah.
Good day, sir.
Yeah. I do feel also gold bars is like another cool level of corruption.
Yeah.
You know? Pay me in gold bars.
If you're going to be corrupt, you might as well go gold bars corrupt, right?
Pay me like you would in the 1930s. Right. Gold bars. How would you like to handle this, sir? Well, I'd like to handle it with gold bars.
Maybe some diamonds in a velvet pouch, you know.
Yes. Bring the new Mercedes by the house and fill the trunk with gold bars. Yeah, that's your corruption roundup.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Meantime, there was pretty big news in that Sandra Day O'Connor has passed away.
Yeah.
She was the first woman to sit on the Supreme Court. Isn't that right, Kim?
That is correct.
And she steered clear of controversy in this age of tremendous controversy. I mean, even at the court level. She was 93. And she's remembered really for being a trailblazer from the standpoint of her gender, right? She, it's said, championed ideological compromise and educated generations of Americans about the rights and duties of citizenship. There she is. The court announced her death in a statement this morning, citing complications related to advanced dementia, probably Alzheimer's, and a respiratory illness. That's all a quote. She was 93 years old. As I mentioned, first woman to serve on the Supreme Court. Historians, they go on to say, consider her one of the most consequential women in American history. The law was a male thing. This is a quote. The law was a male thing. The Supreme Court was a male place. Merely her presence there as a woman changed everything. That was from Evan Thomas, O'Connor's official biographer. She was a feminist, but she didn't call herself that, he said. She knew how to get along with these men who were waiting for her to fail. She had to be careful, but at the same time, tough and strong. It was a hard balance to strike, but she did it. According to her biographer, those remarks appropriate on her passing. She was appointed by, anyone? Ronald Reagan, 1981. And he called her truly a person for all seasons. A constitutional conservative. She believed the proper role of the judiciary is one of interpreting and applying the law, not making it. Those are her words. She said that when she was 51 years old. Again, I'll repeat that because we've lost our way on that. The proper role of the judiciary is one of interpreting and applying the law, not making it. Reagan called her a person for all seasons, and he thought that, look, I gave Reagan some credit. I don't think he'd recognize this GOP. I'm not a Reagan fan for a lot of reasons, but, this was a big move. And also, it makes you realize that, 1981, to have a court that was all male was a big thing. I mean, think about that. It's kind of, it reflects the loathsome gender-based and race-based history of this country. I mean, it really is not a cool thing at all, right? And so to think that it took Ronald Reagan to break that gender bias that was existing on the Supreme Court, even though she was a conservative, likely truly a trailblazer. So Sandra Day O'Connor, 93.
The Mark Thompson Show.
I have much to do. Wow, Romania Animal Rescue Inc., a super sticker for 20. I have to say, big shout out.
Big shout out.
I'm still curious about Romania Animal Rescue Inc. Maybe we can find out more. And Romania Animal Rescue Inc., maybe you can send us an email. I'd like to support your organization. I mean, based on the title, I would. Romania Animal Rescue Inc. for a quick 20. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Here's how to reach out to us, Romania Animal Rescue. Just email us at themarkthompsonshow@gmail.com.
That's right. It's that easy.
Kim, how are you?
Very well done. These are my new credibility glasses. Thank you, Vicky. There was a major announcement yesterday. These are the glasses that I overpaid for, and they are my new credibility glasses. They are clearly higher-end glasses than the ones I had. Please don't misunderstand me. But I don't know. I just can't justify these insanely expensive glasses, but I do like them, so it's fine to have them. And I also received an after-hours commenting tips on the best glasses being at Costco. They have great options, somebody was saying, and it's not as expensive. So that may be an option as well. By the way, I invited the guy who owns this business, I invited him on the show to explain why there's a reflection. There's a little reflection in them.
Yeah, because I thought you had purchased the glasses that have the anti-glare, like these are whiz-bang glasses. They've got everything, right?
Yeah.
Why do we still have the...
He told me there's never been anything like it.
There's never been anything like this.
And so I guess he forgot that I wanted the non-glare. And I don't even know, to be honest, and this is the hard part. I don't even know that we specifically, he just said, and I'm going to put this on it, I'm going to put the anti-scratch on it and all this sort of thing. And I think I might get a second pair at Costco. Yeah. Can I use your membership, Gil? Would that be okay? Gil in the chat. I don't think we have a membership to Costco that's current anyway. Used to be so much fun to go to Costco, and we just haven't done it lately. I think my membership has lapsed. I hope they'll still take me back. It's a very tough membership review committee. Look at this. This is really a good point. Beth Farmer says, I'm surprised that more businesses and events haven't found the super chats are a great way to advertise themselves for minimal cost. Yeah, you're right. Think about the animal rescue. I mean, that would have been a really good move for, any crew to, like the Romania Animal Rescue. They throw us 20 and they get to put the name out there. And then people are curious and they go, hey, I want to see what Romania Animal Rescue is about. And then they check it out.
Think about all the times that the Red Jack has kicked into the show and we, celebrate them. And also Lozica Concrete, right? So
Lozica, that's for all my concrete needs.
Right.
Yeah. When I want to put somebody in a concrete box, you know what I'm talking about, right, Joe Box?
Joe Box and Little Anthony.
Yeah. When it comes time to put somebody in a Joe Box, you put him in those concrete shoes. There's only one place to get you concrete. It's Lozica Concrete. You know what I'm talking about.
Mo Black's brother, Fat Andy.
Yeah, let Fat Andy handle it. So we get it all done. But that's a really good point. You're right.
The Mark Thompson Show.
All right. Let me get to a story that has nothing to do with politics. We'll push politics a little bit. I'll push some of world events to the second hour. And I'll give you something that's a little offbeat. Would you like something offbeat?
Oh, please, yes.
We'll pocket DeSantis and Newsom for Michael Shure later?
Oh, that's right. We've got, what am I talking? Thank you, Albert. This is when Albert is just really, he steps up and distinguishes himself.
Albert, thank you.
The Santos debate, not Santos, the DeSantis debate.
Yeah.
I have to tell you something. My mind is not as sharp as it would be, I think, because I was up all night because we had what we thought was an intruder, and Courtney's running around, and she's hyperventilating. Oh my God! And so I check all the cameras, and I don't see an intruder. But once you're hyperventilating, and your darling other half is thinks that there is an intruder, and you can't be sure that there isn't an intruder, you just can't get back to sleep. So I've been up all night, so my mental acuity is not what it would be normally.
Scary! You guys had quite the night.
Yeah,
did you do that thing in horror movies where you get up and go look?
I told her. She said she was. I said, "Don't go out. Are you kidding? Don't go out there." But I'm glad we didn't. You can check all the cameras.
You get your baseball bat and you went out there and you're like, "Who's at my house?"
Yeah, you better have gold bars if you come in near my house late at night. The late night visits all have gold bars with them. Let's do Santos. We did Santos. Let's do DeSantis and Newsom when Shure gets here. Okay, let me give you an offbeat story.
The Mark Thompson Show.
A 70-year-old Ugandan woman has given birth to twins. What?
70?
70, everybody.
What?
Yeah. If you want to send a card, it is Safina Namukwaya. She delivered a boy and a girl via cesarean at a fertility center in the capital of Uganda, Kampala. And again, she was going through IVF treatment, just to kind of walk you through it. Yeah. Ms. Namukwaya, who is one of the oldest women to give birth, told local media it was a miracle. Wow.
There's never been anything like this.
The hospital congratulated her, saying it's more than a medical success. It's about the strength and resilience of the human spirit. Wow. Well, it's...
Does she plan to raise these babies?
Well, it sounds like you have a lot. Yeah, that would be the move. As I read on about her, I must tell you there are some troubling aspects to it. They were born prematurely at 31 weeks, placed in incubators. It's unclear as to why she had these kids, and the more I read, the more I was struck by the fact that she wanted to have children because she wanted some offspring, didn't have any, to take care of her when she grows older.
Oh, come on.
Now, I'll give you the quote. She said she had wanted to have children after she was mocked for being childless. And, quote, I looked after people's children and saw them grow up and leave me alone. I wondered who would take care of me when I grow old.
That's a reason to have a kid.
I mean, honestly, it makes me sad, but it also is an awful thing that you would, have kids for that reason. Not to say maybe it'll turn out, you have kids for the wrong reason, but you turn out to be a great mother. At 71, it's hard to see that you have enough runway left to really raise those kids in, any kind of vibrant way. Typically, women going through menopause between the ages of 45 and 55, so fertility drops around that time. But advances in medicine have made it possible, to give birth way past that period, apparently. And IVF is one of the ways you can do it.
No,
you get
that wasn't IVF. That was not her own eggs. I call baloney.
During IVF, as Kim has sort of hinted at here.
Kim, how are you?
The fertilized egg, the egg is taken, right? Isn't that what happened? It's removed from a woman's ovaries. It's fertilized with sperm in a laboratory. Albert, take this down.
Albert, thank you.
The fertilized egg is called an embryo, and then that's put in the woman's womb to grow and develop. And then, what happens, happens.
Right? It must have been a donated egg, because by the age of 45? If not, right around there, your eggs are gone. They're toast. They're cracked. They're raggedy. They're done.
Hey, relax.
It's party over
on my
for all the eggs.
I mean, my God, you're a little rough on the...
So that had to be a donor
Look
egg.
at you youngies, making fun of the older people's eggs. I think that's not very cool. But anyway, 70 years old. She has 2 kids, and she looks lovely. But yeah, I mean, she can start a podcast. That would be a great thing to do. All right,
good luck chasing those toddlers around.
Yeah, all right.
No way,
now she'll need to smash the like button like a boss.
Smash it with your iron
We've
rod.
given you some politics. We've given you an offbeat story, Kim's news, and then Friday, fabulous Florida. Great to have you with us here. Mark Thompson Show.
The Mark Thompson Show.
On the Mark Thompson Show, I'm Kim McAllister, and this report sponsored by Coachella Valley Coffee. As Mark mentioned, retired United States Supreme Court Justice pictured here, Sandra Day O'Connor, has died at the age of 93. The Supreme Court said O'Connor's cause of death was related to complications from advanced dementia and a respiratory illness as well. O'Connor was the first woman to serve on the Supreme Court. She was appointed by Ronald Reagan in 1981. New York Republican George Santos is no longer a member of Congress. See you later. You're out. The House voted to expel Santos this morning in an historic 311 to 114 vote, ending his some would say chaotic tenure in Congress. More than 100 Republicans voted in favor of removing Santos, who is now the 6th lawmaker to ever be pushed out of the chamber. Pushed out is right. Unfortunately, the truce is over between Israel and Hamas, the Israeli military announcing today that it has resumed combat in the Gaza Strip, claiming Hamas violated the truce and fired a rocket toward Israeli territory. Israeli airstrikes have been reported in Gaza City, and the drones have been reported over southern Gaza as well. Investors say the Federal Reserve is done hiking interest rates, but the Fed chair warns them not to speak so soon. Jerome Powell says in remarks at Spelman College in Atlanta, the Fed is moving forward carefully as the risks of under and over tightening are becoming more balanced. He said it would be premature to conclude with confidence that interest rates will not rise. There is a federal appeals court that is rejecting Donald Trump's bid to dismiss civil lawsuits seeking to hold him accountable for the U.S. Capitol riot. A 3-judge panel denied Trump's argument that he is immune to civil claims because he was the president at the time. A former president facing lawsuits from Democratic lawmakers and from U.S. Capitol police officers who say Trump is responsible for the violence by his supporters during the riot aimed at overturning the 2020 election. So he can be sued civilly. And I don't know if it's going to be a class action or if it's just going to be lawsuit after lawsuit. But
yeah, it's a weird thing because it is going on right now. That's a big ruling. But you find that just the legal delays associated with even the civil actions against Trump they're troubling. And we talked to David Katz about it. It's they're all legit, but kicking the can on down the way. I mean, at some point, it just gets harder and harder to sue this guy. To sue him for the legit connection that is being drawn between his remarks and him whipping the crowd up. And
kidding me? Every American should sue. He hurt all of us. He put our democracy in peril. Everyone file a lawsuit against Donald Trump right now. Everybody, 1, 2, 3, go.
Wow.
I don't think you should apologize for how you feel.
Exactly. Wow.
No, I really won't. Do you think there's room for another Disneyland in Southern California? Another land?
Oh my God.
Is there room? Because the Disney theme park chairman seems to think so. He told a town hall this week. They have a lot of space to play with at Disneyland. I mean, it looks like they're kind of busting at the seams, but only if the city of Anaheim approves rezoning some of the property for more rides, more attractions, and more restaurants. An environmental study is out on the project, and officials will meet Monday to talk about it. A decision is expected later this year. On the after party, we were talking about the Hong Kong Disneyland. They just put in a Frozen attraction that I think looks really cool. So I'd like to see a Frozen at Disneyland. Maybe they could find room for that.
You'd like Disneyland Part 2, Part 2.
Bring it all. Yeah. What do they have to knock down? A roadway in? Okay. A Motel 6? Whatever.
What?
Okay.
Bring me the good stuff. Huge, shiny, metal, weird-looking cones are popping up in downtown San Francisco. It's not new toilets. Oh no. The shiny metal space-age toilets haven't been installed in San Francisco after the prototype went up in the city a year ago. Instead, these huge 16-foot-high kiosks that will display advertising have been erected in the city. The revenue they generate will be used to make the new public toilets possible. So we're advertising to pay for the potties. There's expected to be 25 new space-age toilets around the city by 2026, 8 arriving next year, 8 in 2024, and the rest the following year. Those are pricey potties. Somebody has to pay.
Yeah, but they're great potties.
Lastly, the Oscars telecast will be starting an hour earlier next year. So just in case, right now you wanted to make a note of when you're going to watch the Oscars, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences announcing the show will air at 7 p.m. Eastern in 2024 instead of the usual 8 p.m. Eastern start. The 96th edition of the awards show will be broadcast March 24th on ABC with late night host Jimmy Kimmel returning as host.
Love that.
I know, me too. Oscar nominations are due to be announced on January 23rd. So And this report is sponsored by Coachella Valley Coffee. And in my 13 days of tea, I think this is day 10, this is the Dragon Well, the loose leaf Dragon Well tea. Very fancy tea, apparently. It is the Longling 4th grade Dragon Well green tea. And from what I've read about this, it's very high-end, top-scale, highfalutin tea.
Highfalutin?
So,
is that? I don't think that.
Highfalutin dragon tea is what I have here.
It's what the elites drink? Is that what you're telling me?
I'll take this dragon tea. Absolutely. This is so good.
Now, if you're just joining us, Kim is trying a different kind of tea from Coachella Valley Coffee every day for 13 days. It's the 13 days of tea trials.
Yeah.
And
I would put this on my list to reorder. This is good.
Really?
Yeah.
So what is that called again?
It's the Dragon Well.
Dragon Well. Okay.
It's the Dragon Well loose leaf tea from Coachella Valley Coffee.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's good. That's really good. That's special.
That. I love that you love it.
It's very special.
I had a quadruple shot of Coachella Valley Coffee this morning. As I mentioned, having not slept at all, I needed something to jolt me back into reality. And this is delicious. This is the Coachella Valley Coffee that I grind for espresso. But I also loved the holiday blend. So, I mean, look, I've said this before, and I'll just say it again. I mean, obviously, Kim has spoken of the tea. This is the best coffee I've ever tasted. And you should pick the beans that are right for you. There are a bunch on the website, and they all have tasting notes, and you can try. We just got the text earlier, into our chat from Lee and Eileen. They love it. Their first batch arrived. Many have reordered. You can get subscriptions. There are discounts that way, but the big discount on whatever, even subscriptions, I think, is Mark T at checkout and 10% off. But Kim really loves her tea.
This is the Dragon Well. This is a special tea. Wow. That's good.
Maybe I'll try it.
Get your 10% off just for being a Mark Thompson Show listener. You get the exclusive deal. It's a 10% off. When you're checking out at CoachellaValleyCoffee.com, you enter Mark T at checkout, and it feels good to see that amount come off the total.
Yes,
so that's
it feels
really
good.
nice.
Discounts feel good.
Discounts do feel good. It's why I always search for a coupon code no matter what I'm checking out of. Yeah. I'm Kim McAllister, and this is The Mark Thompson Show.
They had to close down an entire radio station to silence him. And now, he's here. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Thompson.
Hit me with some Christmas, baby. Come on, with some Christmas time. I like the holidays,
The Mark Thompson Show.
No.
Let me kick down the door and talk to my stupid sons and daughters.
Yeah, baby.
Girl, you just
I'm loving it. Happy holidays, whatever your jam is. I don't care. You're a Christian, you're a Jewish person, you're a Muslim, you're an atheist, you're a Episcopalian, you're a Unitarian, you're a Presbyterian. Give me some other religions. John Daly, give me some other religions, John Daly. Come on. You're a Buddhist. Come on, John Daly,
Taoist.
Former fabulous producer. Who else?
A Taoist. A Taoist.
A Taoist.
Fabulous producer, John Daly.
Thank you, a Taoist. Whatever. You're all welcome here. Whatever your special religious garb is, it's fine. You are welcome here. This is a place for all people. Maybe you're a Jainist. Never met a Jainist.
No, me neither.
A Jainist, I think, is Jainism comes out of, I want to say it comes out of India? Is that?
Google it.
All right. Somebody check that. Albert, will you check that?
Baha'ist?
Baha'i, yes,
That's what I was thinking.
Thank you. Strong.
What's the religion they adopt the cleanup on the highways? Those are the Baha'i, right? Yeah.
That's
We need more religions where the holy book is about cleaning up the highways. That's exactly right.
Perfect.
Don't forget the Confucianists.
The Confucianists, thank you very much. You're all welcome here. We love
Mormons,
it.
Where are my weed smokers at?
Yes, and the Mormons. Come on with you Mormons, you nutty Mormons.
The Catholics. Yeah.
What the F is a Jainist? Spencer's asking, check on it, Albert, and you can explain to everybody what a Jainist is.
Google
I believe it's very, it's kind of more serious Buddhist is what a dailyist says Square.
Who are the people that come knocking on your door with the watchtower? Who are those people?
Oh, those are the, thank you. Those are the Seventh-day Adventists, I
There
think.
you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're still sending letters to my dad, and he passed away in 2015. I don't know if I have to tell them.
Well, yeah.
They're like handwritten and everything.
No kidding. Well, I mean,
But
that's
Jainism is an ancient religion of India. It is similar to Buddhism.
India.
so
Thank you. I'll
correct.
take my I'll take my prize off.
Don't
the
forget
air.
the Shinto. The Shinto in Japan.
Let him explain what Jainism is, please, John. Go ahead, Albert, please.
Like Hindus and
anything
Buddhists,
else about it?
Jains believe in reincarnation, the cycle of death. It's very similar, basically. Yeah.
Similar to Buddhism? Is that what you said?
Yeah, similar to Buddhism. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm sorry, John. Go ahead. What were you saying?
No, it's okay. I was just saying the Shinto in Japan.
Oh, yeah? The Shinto?
Don't forget your
Come on.
Sikhs. You got your Sikhs.
Yeah. The Sikhs? How about my Sikhs?
Zoroastrians.
Zoroastrians are really cool. Now, that's,
They do. I don't know what they are.
That's it comes out of the Middle East, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, like Persia, that whole area.
Right. Exactly. Comes out of
Yeah.
the
Founded in ancient
Rastafarians, says Russ.
Oh, they're cool.
Yeah, you went up with my Rastas. Come on, Rastas.
What about the people that believe in voodoo and what are they? The Santa something?
Don't
Santa
know.
Marias?
The Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria.
The Santa Clauses?
No, that's not them.
Watch out, here comes the Santa Maria.
I have a
in
correction.
Spells and voodoo. They're from. Are they from Haiti? They're from somewhere in the Caribbean.
Kim's right, though. There's. I know what you're speaking of. I just don't really.
They
know
sometimes sacrifice animals in their church.
Yeah, it is voodoo. It's
You seem a little familiar, Kim.
Well, you know,
Google it.
Beth has a correction for me. The people who go door to door, this is key. I'm surprised I blew this. They are Jehovah's Witnesses.
That's right.
That's the answer we were looking for. So, yeah.
I always try to avoid
Thank
them.
you,
I
Beth.
wasn't even like listening all the way. They just call it voodoo. So voodoo people are called.
Here it is. Somebody has it. Of course, Doug has it in the chat. It's Santa Rita. Is that right? I don't know if that's.
Well, you can practice Santeria, or Santeria.
Yeah, like that one.
It's like a
Santeria.
That's a song.
Like the song, right?
Yeah, it's Santeria, like the Sublime song, says Heather. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that
I
looks
don't
like that's a
practice
separate religion from
Santeria.
Cuba.
I ain't got no crystal ball, says James
That's right.
Watts.
What
That's an
happened to this
African-
conversation? I don't
African
know.
diasporic religion in Cuba that developed in the late 19th century.
Look at you, very
So that's
nicely.
that's separate.
Nicely Googled.
Google it.
Yeah.
Where's my mom's drop? A Google told me. Remember that?
A Google
Yeah.
told me.
Yeah, that's my mother.
A Google told me.
All right. This is the moment on Fridays that we so often look forward to. It is
The Open?
It is the segment curated by Albert. And he's told us, just to warn you ahead of time, John.
Oh, I was listening. It's dark.
It's dark.
Albert, thank you.
Yeah. This is Friday Fabulous Florida.
It's time for Friday Fabulous Florida.
There is a gigantic alligator in my kitchen.
A look at the weirdest stories from our weirdest state.
A Florida pest control worker is arrested, facing several charges. He is arrested for, if you guessed, exposing himself to customers while providing estimates for pest control services. Give yourself...
Yes, I'm very unhappy with everything I've heard today
I
on
get
your
it.
show.
I get it.
Yeah.
It is not a happy story, but it does happen. Guys sometimes can't help but whip it out.
No.
And
so
this
does
is
the
what
price
happened
go
to...
down when he takes the clothes off, or do people pay him to put the clothes back on?
Actually, the way it worked in this particular instance, John, and thank you for the question about detail, is that Tyler Mountain, as he is named, and there he is, and he actually is a very attractive man shown here wearing a fake beard and wig.
Yeah, he's a man of the mountain.
He
A
does.
brawny man.
I think that's really his beard and really his wig, but it does look fake.
That's not fake.
That's not fake. That's real. Where's my?
That's not fake.
Thank you.
That's real.
Detectives say they began this investigation after a 76-year-old woman reported that an employee of Massey Services, again, it's a pest control service, exposed himself to her while he was in her Davenport home, Davenport, Florida, to provide an estimate for pest control services. According to cops, she said that he stepped out of her bathroom with his penis exposed, which is
my bad. I'm sorry.
I mean, was that a failure to zip up? Or
well, it's interesting you say that because that is his defense.
What?
Yes, the according to the arrest report, he said that he got his zipper caught. And the zipper was broken somehow, and it's for that reason that his unmentionables were extended out
It was
of
wrong,
the...
it was stupid, and I'm trying to be a better person.
You know, he was just spraying around the baseboards.
The man used his position to gain access to people's homes and then sexually exposed himself. The behavior is disgusting and predatory, according to Grady Judd, who was the sheriff on this one.
There's a reason that this place is fine.
That's right. Grady said, "We believe it's possible that more victims of this man could be out there, and if that's the case, we want them to come forward."
What he's got going here is a situation.
He is being charged with lewd exhibition and lewd exhibition to an elderly person, and he is behind bars.
What's a guilty pleasure you have?
Behind bars. Okay. Meantime, on the other side of Florida, a guy is pulled over with a live alligator hidden in the trunk.
What?
Deputies came across an unusual situation. Oh, he's got going here is a situation.
What he's got going here is a situation.
A Florida Wildlife Conservation Commission officer called to a traffic stop after deputies reported that this vehicle had an alligator inside.
Uh-oh.
God, they really just abuse these alligators now.
That looks like a pretty big one, too.
Actually, they said it's a small alligator. Maybe that shot doesn't give you some kind of perspective on it. But
Right.
David Godfrey is the driver, and he told the officer that he caught the small gator on a paved road as it was crossing the road. The road was near the county jail. How convenient. And he was scared that the alligator would get run over by a vehicle. Oh, that's sweet.
So you pick it up and put it in your trunk?
Yeah, right.
No.
He planned to take the animal to a private pond and release it, he said. The 3-foot gator was being stored in a burlap sack in the trunk of the SUV. And he said, the driver did, that he knew in Florida that he's not allowed to legally possess the gator, and he understands the regulations there. He was charged, though, unlawful possession of a gator, and he got a notice to appear in Dixie County Court.
Yeah, you don't want that in your Coachella coffee.
Ain't it true? Caught on camera, a Florida man walks out of Publix with 12 bottles of wine. Wow,
I'd be willing to bet my lunch that there's alcohol involved.
Well, there is 12 bottles of it. On November 24th and 26th. If it works once, you go back and try to make it work again. The dude entered a Publix located at Fiddlesticks Boulevard in Fort Myers, which, by the way, does feel as though it's where some imaginary character would live in some Christmas story. Am I right, everybody? Like at Fiddlesticks Boulevard?
We've run out of names for streets. Oh, Fiddlesticks.
I mean, it literally is called Fiddlesticks Boulevard, and if you're looking for it, it's in Fort Myers, Florida.
Right by Gingerbread House.
Here is our Gingerbread Lane.
Nothing ever goes right on Fiddlestick Street.
Is the video of the man robbing, I believe, the store of the wine. Is that what we're seeing here, Albert? Yeah.
No, this is just surveillance footage, but this story is so short, but the only reason why I put this in here was for the Fiddlesticks. So I'm glad you picked up on that.
Yeah, very strong. I'm very happy
right
with
at the
it.
camera.
Yeah. Well, a Florida woman has stabbed her boyfriend and stabbed him in the eye.
Oh.
Yeah, but that's not all. She stabbed him in the eye with a rabies needle.
Oh, jeez.
And she stabbed him in the, you're wondering why. I mean, that's a pretty brutal thing.
Why
he was looking at other women.
Oh. Justified then.
Justified.
Yeah.
Right.
What?
Justified.
Girl, you just...
Now I understand. All right.
Sandra Jimenez, she's 44 years old, was in an argument with her boyfriend about him looking at other women. He told Miami cops that when the two arrived back at their house, boyfriend told the cops that he laid down on the couch and she pounced on him with 2 rabies needles that they had for their dogs. Pierced in one eyelid and transported to a local hospital for care. She fled the scene immediately after the attack. Oh, she fled the scene.
What can you tell us about the scene?
And somebody fled it, Larry. I can tell you that she's fled the scene.
What can you tell us about the scene?
Yeah. She's pled not guilty.
What can you tell us about the scene?
She's fled it. I said it twice.
She has the look on her face of someone who's not sorry.
Yeah, she looks like a tough lady. Mm-hmm. Court records show that
I did it.
She's pleading not guilty to the felony charge, to your point, Kim. Also aggravated battery, and she's being held on house arrest. That's the best kind of arrest. Didn't you agree, everybody? Yeah, house arrest. That's what you want. If you're going to be arrested, go for the house arrest. Yeah. Florida woman.
Stabbed somebody?
Arrested. No stabbing. It was theft. 3rd-degree grand theft. I think the interesting thing about this, and it's a pairing that Albert has done in his curation of Friday Fabulous Florida, of Walmart thefts. A Florida woman has attempted to eat counterfeit cash after she was busted for trying to sneak out of Walmart with more than $800 worth of items. Yeah.
She tried to eat the money?
That's right. Zipporah Abraham is her name. She's 38. There she is, not looking like it was her best day to be photographed. She was charged with 3rd-degree grand theft and uttering, they call it uttering forged bills. I don't know why it's called uttering, but all right.
She's trying to get them to her utters.
Yeah, maybe. It was North Miami Beach, the scene of this one, in a Walmart. And she, again, did 2 things. She was trying to get out of the store with stuff she didn't pay for, and then she was using counterfeit money to pay for other stuff. So she's seen on store surveillance placing several items inside a storage bin and pacing back and forth until she saw the opportunity to take off from the store with the items that she never paid for. Then she actually tried to pass these counterfeit bills off, and when stopped, the prevention officer, the store detective, we used to call him, the cop there, asked her to remove the jewelry from her wrist before taking her into custody, and then she shoved $200 worth of counterfeit bills into her mouth and attempted to eat them. Wow.
Eat the money and run.
Man, what that's real commitment to the plan. I mean, to be fair.
Ooh, it's a wild idea, but it just might work.
It is a strong choice. I will give her that.
Are you sure she had a plan?
Do you
want to rethink that?
A Florida man, meantime, is arrested, and this happened in Walgreens, for stabbing a woman. He said, why did he do it? Because I wanted to, is what he said.
Good a reason as any.
Yeah. Maybe you want to rethink the motivation. But a Florida man arrested again. This is in the parking lot outside of Walgreens. Stabbed her repeatedly with a knife because I wanted to, he said. He's 34 years old. Albert will show you his booking photo. And this is, I would say, a classic booking photo. It has a quality of, I just woke up. I never went to sleep.
What am I doing here? Why are you taking my picture?
I'm capable of anything. Again, his name is Kenneth Bryan. And he's charged with, all the stuff that you get charged with when you stab people. Battery with a deadly weapon, felonies and all the rest. They were called to the Walgreens on Airport Road South in response to this entire incident. Woman leaving Walgreens, walking to her car in the parking lot, total innocent. She noticed a man approaching her in her peripheral vision. She tried to speed up her gait. The way she was walking to the car wasn't fast enough, Kim. Unsuccessful. He grabbed her and started to stab her with a 5-inch knife. This is dark. You're right, Albert.
Yeah.
Twice in the back. She thought she was being punched at first. Later, she saw blood coming from one of the wounds. She was treated on the scene. and declined to be treated at the hospital.
What can you tell us about the scene?
The lady's being treated there, Larry, and has declined to be treated at the hospital.
What can you tell us about the scene?
I asked him why he did that, and he said, because I wanted to. All right.
He needs some hair advice, some manscaping from that first guy.
Yeah, I think just
coiffed hair.
Yeah, you're right. The first guy had
pomade, maybe some pomade, some hair gel.
Strong. Sounds like John Daly can give him a little bit of a makeover.
Yeah, the declining of the hospital is like a little weird, though. What did you think?
Yeah, I agree. Why wouldn't you go to the hospital and get your wounds taken care of and make sure that there's no internal damage? In fact, the knife was broken into 2 pieces, it's noted here, and was recovered at the scene.
What can you tell us about the scene?
The scene has the scene of recovery, Larry.
Maybe she was committing her own crime.
Yeah. He's 34 years old. He had several prior arrests, charges for aggravated battery, aggravated assault, and battery dating back to 2014. So he's a repeat offender, and he is chilling at the Naples Jail Center. And finally, there is this. It happened at a Publix parking lot in Florida, North Fort Myers.
Publix. Here we go again.
A woman hurls cinder blocks at a guy after rear-ending him. She rear-ends him.
Wow. Aggressive.
That wasn't enough. She took the upper hand. She's hurling cinder blocks at a man. His car was hit by her. She rear-ended him. Patricia Momani, 54, arrested, charged with aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, and she was charged with hit and run.
Apparently she hadn't done enough damage.
Wow, she has quite the sparkly booking photo, I want to say.
She's done enough damage to her hair.
The bright blonde hair. Don't judge, John Daly. Don't judge.
Too late.
I'm a big one for the that bright blonde hair. In Florida, that's kind of a look.
Fabulous producer, John Daly.
Not with that skin tone. Sorry.
Oh, you feel it's just wrong for her look?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So what happened was a guy calls 911. Woman backed her car into his car in the parking lot. The woman later identified as this Momani, who you're seeing here. She fled the scene. Wow.
What can you tell us about the scene?
Momani fled it, Larry. I can tell you that. The man followed her while on the phone with the dispatch office. The pursuit led them to a residential area where they both got out of their cars. Momani grabbed 3 cinder blocks from a driveway and began to throw them at the guy. One of the cinder blocks hit the guy in the shin.
That'll leave a mark.
Shortly after that, the woman got back into her car in an attempt to flee the scene again. Wow.
What can you tell us about the scene?
The woman's attempting to flee it, Larry. And the man grabbed 2 cinder blocks and placed them under her front tires so she couldn't leave. Momani, though, did flee on foot and this is the high degree of difficulty move, she fled the scene in heels is the answer we were looking for. Yeah, that's very strong. The man told deputies he didn't know her, had no previous interactions with her. He was able to ID. There you see the cars. So they're nice cars.
Yeah.
You know? Looks like I don't know what that is, a Jaguar on the left maybe, and a Toyota, red, nice Toyota something on the right. The man was able to ID Momani from a 6-person photo lineup. Deputies caught her after learning a possible location she was residing at. And when deputies arrived at that address, they were met with a man who said Momani was inside the house sleeping. And the man said that Momani arrived at his residence appearing to be in distress, stated she was running from someone and needed a place to stay. That's the kind of, open door policy Florida has. If you're running from the cops, okay, come on, take a load off. She was extremely intoxicated, said the cops.
Shock.
And she was taken into custody. And that is where she is now. And she is awaiting bond. Let me review for you these stories. Some of them disturbing, some of them bizarre, some of them dark. And you have to vote on a favorite. I know you don't want to. It's like us. We don't want to pick a favorite, but we must. The bylaws of this show require that a favorite be delineated by each participant in Friday Fabulous Florida. Albert, what is the poll that's going on right now in the chat.
Yeah, I only had 4 options: pest control exposer, truncator, woman tries to eat money, and woman hurls cinder blocks. Those are our options in the chat. Of course, feel free to write in your votes for the other stories.
Yes, please. And the chat's happening now. Please do.
Albert, thank you.
So you've got, let's just look in the chat before we get to it. Alcohol involved, says Sharon. Money eater, says Maud.
Yeah.
Least horrid
one. Cinderblock blonde, says William Lundgren. Rabies needle strong, says Heather. Cinderblock lady, those are heavy. Yeah, you got to give her points for hurling multiple cinder blocks.
This is not her first time.
The rabies needle, says John.
Was she in heels while she was hurling those cinder blocks?
She should be in those Florida Olympics that they have.
It's true. You're right. John is right. And that should certainly be added to the Florida Olympics, which is that you have to run the course with heels on.
Yeah.
Pest
Dye
control, says Ron. Crazy blonde lady. Cinder block, you can see a trunk gator. Is so Florida, says Michael Reich.
Yeah.
Michael Reich, you missed this yesterday, but he had a suggestion, John, about the fact that if somebody gets out of line too much in the chat, yellow card them. Very smart.
I watched the Mark Thompson show.
That was strong. I feel like Michael Reich could be like an Albert fill-in when he can't make it. That would be, he's got those kinds of ideas. Anyway, we have to now, among our crew, pick a favorite, but I'll just remind you, Zipper was broken as the Florida pest control guy who multiple times in women's homes comes out to give them an estimate for pest control and emerges at some point with his private parts
Strong
out.
hair.
Florida man pulled over with the live alligator in the hidden trunk, caught on camera. The Florida man walking out of the Publix with 12 bottles of wine. Florida woman stabs the boyfriend in the eye with a rabies needle because he looked at other women. The Florida woman attempting to eat counterfeit cash after being busted for the Walmart theft. The Florida man arrested for stabbing a woman in the Walgreens parking lot because, quote, I wanted to. The Florida woman hurling cinder blocks at the man and rear-ending him in the Publix parking lot. And then, of course, the chase that ensued. We must pick a favorite, and we'll start with you, Kim, please.
Kim, how are you?
I kind of want to pick the gator in the trunk, but I think this time I'm going to have to go with the rabies needles to the eyes.
That is
I know
strong.
it's dark, but it's very wild.
Yeah.
It's a wild idea. Did not work.
What about you, fabulous producer John Daly? What do you think?
Fabulous producer
I like
John
the
Daly.
cinder block, but we need to get her some toner for her bleach blonde bottle hair.
Yeah.
I think I have to go with Money Eater.
Yes, Money Eater, very strong. Albert, what was your choice?
Albert, thank you.
Very dark here, but I kind of like the woman with the rabies needle because because Kim forgot to mention he was looking at other women. So
yeah. I think it is between rabies needle and eating the counterfeit cash. I mean, because we've never had anything like that.
Creative.
You know what I mean? That's
nothing in our history.
I did everything right, and they indicted
No, they've never been.
There's never been anything like
That's
this.
what I was looking for. Yeah. There's never been anything like this. I'm going with the eating the cash.
Yeah, I don't like needles.
Yeah. But those two are very strong. Albert, thank you. That's Friday Fabulous Florida for today.
This has been Friday Fabulous Florida.
There is a gigantic alligator in my kitchen.
Y'all come back now here.
Never disappoints. Very well done, Albert. Well curated. You can find John Daly on the After Party Live.
We'll do it live. I can do it right.
That follows this show. And
well, you were talking about those bathrooms that they're putting up in the city. We're going to get one. We're going to sponsor one. We're going to call it the After Potty.
Oh, that's so strong.
Yeah,
love it.
After Potty.
Love it.
I don't think we can afford to sponsor one. Those things are really expensive. They're like, I don't know, how much do those potties cost?
Well, you could take less of a cut, Kim.
You gotta.
You got like 3 shows.
You got to be. Sometimes those are the loss leaders. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Sponsoring a potty.
$1.50 hot dog.
John, then we'll see you in an hour. Thanks so much, John Daly. Everybody. Bye. we continue, and I will mention that
The Mark Thompson Show.
I saw a super cool contribution. Can we just, this is really, we're a crowd-funded show, so we like to give shout-outs to people who are so cool, step up and give us super stickers and super chats. I mentioned Romania Animal Rescue for the 20, Marilyn Gunning, and Luis. Happy to Santos Independence Day. Big shout out, Luis. Yeah. The lying liar and the lies he told being thrown out. Candace Worthman for a 10 spot. Big shout out.
Big shout out.
How about it, Candace? Thank you so much, Candace. Very cool. Walter, aloha, Mark. Great show, guys. What up with a 10 spot,
Big
Walter?
shout out.
Aloha, Walter.
Aloha to you, pal. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All of you. Thank you so much. And Kathleen, I see Gail. I was looking ahead in my hymnal. Gail Guthrie for a 10 spot.
Big shout out.
Big shout out, Gail. Gail is HOF, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
And Sharon Kidd, who also is HOF.
Big shout out.
Big shout out to Kathleen. To Sharon. And this is Kathleen. Sorry. Kathleen with a super sticker for $50.
Holy moly.
Wow. I must say,
I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry.
I'm not going to cry, but that is cry territory. All of you, thank you. We depend on your donations. Wish we didn't have to. I wish we could just, play tons of Cars for Kids ads and have you listen to those, and then I wouldn't have to ask for any support from the audience. But we don't run the Cars for Kids ads, and the trade-off is that you guys support the show and keep us on the air. Thank you so much, Kathleen. That's really generous, and all of you, Sharon and Gail and everyone, you're all so lovely to be regulars and supporters of the show. Smash the like button like a boss.
Smashed it with your iron rod.
There was a big Thunderdome debate between Ron DeSantis and Gavin Newsom last night. The Florida governor against the California governor. We will get to that story and more. On a Friday, we do politics in the second hour, at the top of the second hour. In the bottom of the second hour, we do movies with the Culture Blaster. So all of that still to come. Mark Thompson Show.
The Mark Thompson Show.
On the Mark Thompson Show, I'm Kim McAllister. This report is sponsored by Tenuta Vineyards in Livermore. And let's go to it where we're going to talk about it a little more in depth. But I will say this showdown between California and Florida is all the talk today. Governor Gavin Newsom describing last night's debate as fun. He posted that after squaring off with Governor Ron DeSantis, I could have kept going. The two clashed on issues like abortion, taxes, crime, immigration, even COVID. And Governor Newsom continued throwing jabs on social media overnight, calling DeSantis a bully, claiming Florida is in a state of fear. There is a man that has been convicted now of arranging hundreds of sham marriages. Engelbert Ulan is from the Philippines and lives in Los Angeles. A federal jury in Boston found him guilty of arranging some 300 marriages so people could get around U.S. immigration laws. He was convicted of conspiracy to commit marriage fraud and immigration document fraud. 11 other people were arrested in a sting on what the Department of Justice said amounted to a marriage fraud agency that charged $20,000 to $3,000 per marriage. So,
wait a minute. So for $3,000 or $20,000, you can get married?
It's $20,000. I think it's supposed to be $300,000, but at least $20,000 per marriage or more.
So $20K gets you into a sham marriage.
Mm-hmm,
but if you want what I guess maybe more attractive sham marriage, you pay more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. It doesn't matter what they look like. They just find you someone willing to say, "Sure, I love you." Come on in.
Well, you know how they work, because I've actually talked to people who've done them, and they quiz you on the last 2 years together and all that sort of thing. I mean,
right.
Because it has to be like a 2 year. I think 2 years is the clock or what it used to be, and they ask you all these personal questions about the other person, and then they have the other person there, and they're querying them separately, and so all the information has to, it has to match up. Kind of wild.
can't match up too much. Otherwise, they'll know it's a story. Oh. So there has to be some discrepancies in your lie. Otherwise, it's too perfect.
Wow, that's really well done. It sounds like
you just don't get it.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I thought you do match up, but you don't really match up.
Watch a lot of Law and Order interrogation room.
Oh,
you know.
I see. Okay.
You know how it go? Yeah. In Santa Cruz, they are changing their overnight parking rules. Starting Monday, vehicles longer than 20 feet will need a permit to park on city streets from midnight to 5 a.m. That includes oversized vehicles at least 8 feet tall or 7 feet wide. And it means those living in RVs have to move to a parking lot. Mayor Fred Keeley says the new ordinance will be enforced to keep the community safe, citing health and environmental concerns. So, yeah, can't just throw those RVs on the side of the road anymore.
No.
Police say they found a driver in Lake Elsinore asleep at the wheel with more than $20,000 of stolen jewelry in the car.
What?
Yeah. Sometimes going on one of those robbing sprees will make you tired, take all that energy right out of you. Riverside Sheriff deputies found the car in the middle of the road near Grape Street and Railroad Canyon Road at about 3:30 in the morning on Wednesday. Upon inspection, they found the driver slumped over the steering wheel and more than $20,000 worth of stolen jewelry in relation to a robbery in San Diego, wow. $8,000 in cash, and more than 80 grams of methamphetamines.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. Well,
the 59-year-old
bottle watch in Sam's.
Yeah, why didn't he just go to Sam's? You're right.
59-year-old man faces charges of drug sales and possession of stolen property. So.
Not conspicuous at all, says Michael. Yeah, exactly.
No, yeah, just rock on. Sometimes I'm telling you, you're just tired. You just got to sleep.
He might have gotten away with it. He not kind of ran out of energy and just kind of parked his car there in the middle of the road. That'll pretty much get you nailed every time.
Let's Glow San Francisco. It is supposed to be the country's largest holiday projection arts festival. Starts tonight in downtown San Francisco. This festival, they're trying to kickstart some business in San Francisco's downtown, which has been a little slow, right? They turn it into a winter wonderland. The festival runs for the first 10 days of December. And what happens is they put colorful holiday light projections, beaming them onto the facades of iconic San Francisco buildings in the evening. And there's music that plays with the light show, and people stand around and watch it for, 5-10 minutes before they stop, and then they move on to the next one. So that's kind of fun.
That is cool. Facade is a ding word.
I'll take it. The buildings include the Ferry Building, so that's a cool one to watch it on. And the projections use high-tech Panasonic projectors and lasers that project large-scale art concepts. That's kind of fun.
Yeah. When does that start?
Friday night, tonight.
All right.
Yeah, that's right. Look at this place. This is nice. This is a big old mansion in Alamo. And apparently it's for sale, right? Yeah.
Wow.
It's for sale.
Alamo is in the East Bay, for those who don't know the Bay Area, or they don't know what that's a reference. It's not like Alamo, Texas or anything. So,
no, Alamo is in the East Bay. And
but that does look like it could be in Texas. It's that expansive a place. Look at it.
It overlooks the Diablo Valley.
Wow.
It was built by tech billionaire David Duffield. It's got a name. You know it's a mansion when it has a name. It's called Field Haven.
No, very lovely.
Field Haven took years to build. It's 21 acres. It took $135 million to build it.
Wow.
Adjusting for inflation, this property would cost about $250 million if they were to build it today. How much do you think it's for sale for?
So what is it selling for now is the question. How much is this huge expanse selling for? I feel like I should bring in Michael Shure for this, but
There's the wine cellar. It's a beautiful wine cellar.
Wow, that's extraordinary. Michael, who has, because he's a epic politics guy. He's dealt with the wealthy, and he might have a guess. He's dealt with the power brokers. Can I have him guess at the asking price?
I will tell you, it also has a cinema. You can see here right in the house. There's its own little cinema, its own little bar.
Wow.
I mean, it's a pretty nice palatial spread here.
Yeah, but I think it's a little tacky to have the word cinema there. I mean,
yeah,
you know,
like
how do you know where the cinema is?
Yeah,
like right there. You know,
we were just worried that people wouldn't know that was the movie theater, so we put the word cinema there. Michael Shure, how much do you think this place is going for? Kim, again, tell us how much it cost to build it.
It cost $135 million to build it. Adjusted for inflation, it would be about $250 million if you were trying to build that house today.
In the chat, before I get to Michael's guess, Spencer says $300 million. Nancy says 225. BA says 150. 45 million says Karen. 143 million says Eric. 27 million says Square. What do you think, Michael Shure? What do you think it goes for? They want.
I'm going to say it's selling for $171 million.
171 million is the guess from Michael Shure. What do you have as the actual retail price, please, Kim?
This house is going for $35 million. They are taking a massive loss. Nobody wants the mansion, apparently, for its $250 million that it would cost to build today. So even though it cost $150 million to build, it's for sale for $35 million.
Nothing.
Julie says perfect home for a family of 56.
Yeah, totally.
Now I'm embarrassed because they're going to want $171 million from me.
Yeah, that's right.
You could have had such a deal, but that's the way it goes.
Why is it discounted so much? Why is that, Kim? Do you have a thought?
I don't know. Maybe because people aren't willing to pay that much right now.
Over 100 acres, is that right?
Yeah, 121 acres.
Wow, that's just extraordinary.
It's beautiful. I mean, every room is incredible. Again, with the movie cinema, and they've got
we got the cinema part.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Trust me, there's a pool.
I get it.
There's a cinema.
There's a cinema inside the cinema.
Yeah.
There's an indie cinema inside the other cinema, which has kind of like a bigger mainstream
overlooking the Alamo Hills. Yeah, it's
pretty, man. I consider it if I had any money at all.
Because it's a deal now.
Exactly, because it's a deal. Yeah. That's right.
It was built by Duffield. He founded, remember that company, PeopleSoft? And Workday and Ridgeline. So this is the house that he built. It has 7 bedrooms and 20 bathrooms. It has antique French limestone fireplaces. It's brick overlays and sunny patios. I don't know why it's they're taking such a loss on this, but they are.
20 bathrooms I enjoy. I always like to, like some variation in the bathrooms. I like to always be just a few steps away from a bathroom that, has a different vibe. So,
right.
Anyway,
you get to pee in the same place twice for a month.
Yeah, I like to change it up. All right, so thank you for that.
This report sponsored by Tenuta Vineyards in Livermore, home of the Mark Thompson Why Are You Yelling Red? And the Hey, which one of you is Mark Thompson Pinot Grigio? They're so nice. And what a perfect wine for a holiday gathering. You can get your 10% off. Call 925-699-4576. Check in with Rich out at Tenuta. And you have to say the phrase that pays.
That's the phrase that pays, yeah. Smash it like a...
Thank you.
Smash it with your iron rod. You call them up, you say that, you get your 10% off, and you're well on your way to having a nice little sip of Why Are You Yelling Red Tonight? I'm Kim McAllister, and this is The Mark Thompson Show.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Yes, happy holidays from all of us here. Fridays, we like to bring this guy in. He's forgotten more about politics than most of us will ever know. He's Michael Shure, everyone.
So get me up to speed here, because I do keep in touch with our friend Jim Avila, and Jim is I know have made an announcement, I believe, here on the show. Did he not?
Yes, he made the announcement. We actually had him on twice after the announcement, and it was with a bittersweet feeling that we said goodbye to Jim Avila last week. He is now the lead investigative journalist and leading up the investigative unit at Channel 10. I think it's ABC 10 in San Diego.
Wow.
Yeah. And
yes, I know he is, and I wasn't certain if that meant that he was no longer on the Mark Thompson show.
Yeah, no, he can't do it because, at least for now, because he just didn't want to go to battle over that.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Which I guess it's an awkward thing for you, but I mean, I think that my compensation should go up.
I will. Everything we were giving him will go to you.
Okay, well, that's all I really want. I mean, I would even take a little less than that.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's the kind of person you are. Spencer says, please tell me about the debate, Michael. Michael, before you talk about the debate, Albert, run a little bit of the debate between DeSantis and Gavin Newsom from last night's little Fox Thunderdome thing that they put together. Go ahead.
Joe Biden is sitting on his hands. He refuses to take care of the border. He refuses to hold the drug cartels accountable. This is the vision of Biden, Harris, Newsom.
I support border security. I think the asylum system is broken. I believe that we need. I understand that. I'm the only guy here that's a border state governor. You're trolling folks and trying to find migrants to play political games, to try to get some news and attention so you can out-Trump Trump. And by the way, how's that going for you, Ron? You're down 41 points in your own home state. Biden administration the last 3 years. It's been a master.
Joe Biden paying you tonight?
3.9%.
I thought this was state versus state.
No, but it's about the United States of America. I thought this guy was running for president of the United States. If
you
you're
are
running
too.
for
You just won't admit it.
running for a third.
You just won't admit it. You will not admit it.
Is Joe Biden experiencing this cognitive decline? Is it a danger to the country? Do you find when he speaks, what is your reaction to it?
Yes, he's in decline. Yes, it's a danger to the country. He has no business running for president. And, Gavin Newsom agrees with that. He won't say that. That's why he's running his shadow campaign.
We'll take Joe Biden at 100 versus Ron DeSantis any day of the week at any age. You had quarantines. You had quarantines. You had checkpoints all over the state of Florida. By the way, I didn't say that. Donald Trump laid you out on this, dead to right. You did that.
True.
You followed science. You followed Fauci, Ron DeSantis.
That's not
He followed science. He followed.
You had more kids locked out of school for a longer period of time in California than anywhere else in the country. It was the working class kids. It was the middle income kids. His kids were in private school. They were in class in person.
Slow down. I want everyone to be heard. If I can ask you, I really do want this to breathe. I want this debate to breathe. I want it to organically develop. To do that, I need both your cooperation. I don't want to be a hall monitor. It's not my style, all right?
This is a book that's in some of the schools in California. Florida, this is not consistent with our standards, called Gender Queer. Some of it's blacked out. You would not probably be able to put this on air. This is pornography. It's cartoons. It's aimed at children, and it's wrong. So this should not be in schools.
Those books, do you believe that's appropriate for school districts to teach kids? Yes or no?
Come on, those aren't. It's not part of the curriculum. They're not teaching.
Those are those are books that were in school.
Hold on. The bottom line is you are on a book banning binge. Your state, 1,406 books, 3,362 in this country.
You didn't answer.
Florida's
what about those books?
That's not. We don't provide for K through third grade education, that kind of curriculum. It's just made up. These guys make it up. It's part of this cultural purge.
Should it be?
Just a
what grade would it be acceptable?
What I find offensive, Sean and Ron, what I find offensive is a very significant number of these books happen to be LGBTQ books.
Joe Biden is in the pocket of the teachers union, and so is Kamala Harris. That's why they fought school openings when he came in there. When they had that in there.
It's Kamala
Biden came into office and he brought in the teacher union to be able to. This is a map of San Francisco. There's a lot of plots on that. You may be asking, what is that plotting? Well, this is an app where they plot the human feces that are found on the streets of San Francisco.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry the sound is low, so hopefully I laid out so you could turn it up a little bit, those listening. But now we'll speak at the level of, that's just what we wanted to give you a feel for. It was the food fight that went on. DeSantis came with, more props than Carrot Top. It was crazy. He just kept pulling stuff out and trying to show various things.
Which, by the way, was against the rules, I believe, that you weren't allowed.
Yeah, you're not supposed to bring any props, but, he did. And I'll just say this and then I'll shut up and let Michael Shure speak. But the reality is that Newsom is really debating two people there, right? He's debating Hannity and he's debating DeSantis. What were your thoughts on it? And just, I don't know that it matters, but these two guys are politically relevant, aren't they?
Well, they both are politically relevant because they're governors of two very important political states, and not that any state is less important than the other, but these are two, population centers, and we don't need to go into how big both states are, but it's important in that regard. It's also, you pointed out that it did feel a bit like a 2-on-1 there, so I guess Newsom gets kudos for stepping into that and to go do it. I think that what you see, what Gavin Newsom needs to do, politically speaking, for his current and future aspirations, whatever they may be, is to prove that he is substantive. And I think the knock against him is perception, is that he's this tall, good-looking guy, and in essence, that he's cursed with good looks, because underneath that is a lot of substance. He knows the issues pretty well. And I think that the more he does these things to get himself out in front of people, whether you like him or not, whether you agree with him or not, he has a broad knowledge base and a solid one about the issues that are most important right now. And going into this 2-on-1, I think it was important because it showed that he's not really afraid to do something like this. The substance of it, it became a shouting match. We saw a lot of it there. It was a he said, she said type of environment, and you're not going to get anywhere in those sorts of conversations. But the fact that it happened and he was there is important. And look, any airtime for Ron DeSantis as a candidate who's trailing so badly and losing steam in a race that he never really had steam in is good for DeSantis, and this is also good for Newsom to be out front.
Kim, sorry.
You know what bothered me, Michael, about the way the questions were asked and kind of the ganging up of Hannity and DeSantis on Newsom all night long was each question was presented with some type of a graph or a, statistics or something, and it's Fox. So how does anyone know that whatever they're presenting is based in reality or is the actual numbers or the truth? And then because the way the question is presented that way, well, here's the percentage of Californians that are homeless. Then Newsom has to start from a place that information is correct, and it may not have been.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Kim. I think look, going in, you knew what the playing field was if you were Gavin Newsom. And I think that's just part of the deal there. And I think you set the bar low, you respond, you show what you know, which is the primary reason for him being in this, and to defend his record. And the best way to defend your record is when your record is attacked, and it was every 37 seconds while he was there, and it gave him the opportunity to do that. So yeah, it was not fair. You don't know where the numbers come from, but I do think that you can't criticize that because you knew that ahead of time. There were no surprises here, and Gavin Newsom knew what he was stepping into. And to an extent, Ron DeSantis needed this as well. He needed to show and defend his record in Florida that has come under attack, not just from Democrats, but from some Republicans in the debates that he's attended in the presidential race on that side, in the primary debates there. So I guess everybody knew what they were getting into.
The net effect, I suppose, is negligible. I mean, I don't know. First it was up against a football game, I think. So, the NFL has a history of pretty much obliterating anything else that's up against it from a rating standpoint. But most of these things now in the modern age exist in the way that we just visited it, in a mashup or in a story that you see or in some viral moment. So. But I mean, isn't that the case, though? It's essentially, it doesn't move the meter in any appreciable way.
I mean, Ron DeSantis did this because he needs to be doing things like this. And he was out there. He's in a desperate situation, both as a governor and as a presidential candidate. It's not going to change anything. And Gavin Newsom is not a candidate for president right now. And until he is, these sort of things don't matter that much, but they matter to the groundwork, the base, the foundation of whatever it would be should he run for president.
Michael Shure, the tossing of George Santos today, the voting in the House to get rid of him. I was saying before this all went down that, in this thin majority that the GOP has in the House, getting rid of one vote is not nothing. I wonder if you can.
It's not nothing, which is why you saw the leadership in the House. You saw Johnson, the Speaker, Scalise, the Majority Leader, and Stefanik, the conference chair. You saw them all vote to keep George Santos in Congress because they know that seat is probably lost if he's not there. Tom Suozzi has been recruited by Governor Hochul and the Democrats in New York. Clear he would win that seat, certainly in a special election whenever she calls that, or presumed that he would. A lot can happen always and does, but that's the lean anyway. So they know how important that is. And with their majority as slim as it is and getting slimmer, it becomes very problematic for the leadership. It really was a bit broad gambit by them to try and do that, because had Santos remained, they would have had to answer, and the party would have had to answer in their districts to the keeping of George Santos in Congress, which is really not something that the general public thinks should happen, or the people that pay close enough attention anyway.
So what happens now in House and Senate numbers and with the next election? Like, where are we moving in terms of who controls which house?
I mean, the Democrats are in a tough spot in the Senate. They have to defend a lot of seats in order to keep their majority, which is a slim majority to begin with.
And just not to interrupt, but the reason they have to defend so many seats is?
Well, just the cycles and the states that are up right now. I mean, there are always 33 or 34 seats up, and the seats that are up right now are seats that just are in states that tend to be red, that tend to be strong for Republican candidates, or at least not as strong for Democrats. You look at John Tester in Montana as one, and that they're trying to pick off. Ohio, which is now, I would say, a red state nationally. Sherrod Brown has to defend his seat there. In Nevada, you've got Jackie Rosen defending a seat. I mean, these are, red and purple states, but I would say they're mostly red. Nevada, I would say, is probably blue with some red tendencies. And then you say, well, where do the Democrats go? Well, they're going to have to either beat Rick Scott in Florida or Ted Cruz in Texas. Those are their most likely, and those are highly unlikely to turn right now. So that's the Senate. So the Democrats are spending a lot of money and a lot of time on the House and dismantling the leadership in the House and the control of the House. And they probably have a good shot at taking control of the House. A lot of the seats in New York and California that flipped last time are seats in Biden districts, and there are seats scattered throughout the country, not to mention Alabama and in Louisiana. There are going to be seats added, black district seats added there. We'll see what happens in Georgia. So in Georgia, they are going to add in. We're going to see what happens in North Carolina, whether that will help the Republicans or Democrats. But the House is much more in play for Democrats, and the Senate is something they're going to have to fight like hell to defend, which is why for Democrats, electing or re-electing a Democratic president is so important in terms of keeping control, because the vice president could be the 51st vote.
And to that end, how I know this far out, assessing polls is problematic and not dependable. Is Biden as underwater as clearly is being represented?
I mean, who am I to say no? But I think that there are a lot of factors that have to go into play. And I've said it here before quite a bit, which is the money. Democrats have not spent money on the presidential race. None. I mean, they've spent very little. They're sitting on $1 billion, and $1 billion goes into messaging. It goes into reminding people in states that are important what the president has done, what the administration has done, how things are better on paper, even if you're not feeling it. But there will be examples of why you should be feeling it, and reminders of, oh yeah, you are feeling it. You're just not realizing where and how. I'm not saying this as a Democratic, spin guy, but they're going to do it because that's what the political parties do. The Republicans do the same thing. And so that has not been defined yet because the money hasn't been spent. But, the parts of Joe Biden's record and persona that are being talked about right now, his age and the fact that gas prices still remain higher than people want, even though that has nothing to do with the president, that matters. That matters to voters, and matters to voters I'm seeing out in the country.
I was just checking the chat to see if there's anything I needed to address, but the thing that I did want to ask you about in relation to what you're speaking of, Biden and what he's blamed for, et cetera. As you suggested, there's no real correlation between any policy and the price of gas, and the price of gas has gone down. Of course, he's not getting credit for that. He was tagged by the GOP and by many for being responsible for the higher gas prices. Anyway, as we said, he's nothing to do with that.
You shouldn't get credit for the lower gas prices or blame.
Exactly. The Middle East, as the Middle East becomes unspooled, and as the Middle East becomes this quagmire that raises all of these issues about history and about support, it's all ugly. And I wonder to what extent Biden is politically encumbered. I hate to, let's put aside the humanitarian horror that is going on and that has gone on and has historically gone on. But let's just talk about the situation now in the Middle East as a political element and how it weighs Biden down. And does it, and how would it, and how might that evolve?
Okay, so the questions, I mean, you have to look at the politics of it all as foreign aid, not just the Middle East. I think Ukraine has to come under that umbrella too. And there is a sense among many Republicans and possibly, and this is to the president's detriment, many independents, that we're spending too much money overseas, that we can't fix homelessness, that we are having infrastructure problems, even still with the infrastructure bill, that there is, public education is a disaster, Veterans Affairs and the VA after service, the hospitals, the medical there is not good. Now, again, these are not all things that would be solved in a moment, and it's not like you send $1 to Ukraine, you're taking it out of money for public education, but it's perception in an election year. And I think that's where it could help the president or hurt the president most, is how much money is being spent. Where you stand on these issues and where you stand on Ukraine or Israel or Palestine, that really isn't going to affect the race as much, I don't believe, as how much money is being spent over there. And there are many people that think that we should keep spending as much or more in both places. But it's going to become difficult for Democrats to see a lot of money going to Israel without conditions being placed on it. And that's why you see a group of U.S. senators on the Democratic side coming together to try and control that, to say that there has to be conditional money for Israel, not just this blank check that has gone there for such a long time, where they're able to say, look, in order for you to get this money, and I'm making this up, but this would be an example, you have to make sure that you're going in and providing medical service to Gaza, right? I mean, that has not been talked about. I'm just saying those are the types of things where you attach conditions. Like, your dad says he gives you your allowance, but you have to take out the garbage, right? It's the same type of thing. And I think that sentiment among Democrats is a telltale sign that they are wary of how their sort of blind support for Israel in light of what's going on in Gaza, right or wrong, justified or not, is taking a toll politically.
It's interesting, too, that you find on the GOP side, of course, you find support for Israel. I think the other new component, if I can maybe small n on new, is the immense support for some Palestinian state or some change in Middle East politics on the part of the younger demographic across college campuses, et cetera. I'm wondering how, just in the final moments here, I'm wondering how that might impact the election. I mean, if you look at alternative candidates like an RFK Jr. who does appeal to some of those younger demographics, he's a big supporter of Israel, and he, draws on a lot of history when he makes that case. So it's hard for me to do that calculus. Can you help me with that? Is that younger demographic now being lost by the Democrats?
It's hard to gauge. I mean, young voters don't vote in big numbers. So the amount of time you spend on them, but in a slim election, an election that will be decided by small numbers, most likely, if recent history is going to dictate, every voter matters. Every voter matters all the time. But if you can get groups of voters and you see that they are disenchanted with what's going on in Israel, which again, I just talked about these Democratic senators. This is a way to soften it for them. And they know and they hear and they feel like young Democratic voters who were so instrumental to their victory last time, they need them again this time. And, a lot of it is going to be help for Democrats by the Dobbs decision, we still see that choice and life are a big issue among young voters. And that is going to be something we talked about, the money Democrats haven't yet spent. That's going to be a big part of the messaging as well. But to answer your question, you asked me to be brief and it's too late for that. But the whole idea here that they're going to have this kind of, they're going to use Israel as a wedge issue. It's too tough. Republicans give so much support. They give it because evangelical Christians are so backing Israel right now that I sort of see there's no place for that disenchanted Israel or Mideast voter to go. And so they will probably default, if they are Democrats, they'll probably default to their party anyway.
Wow. Great. Well done. Hey, Michael, sure, I won't see you before the end of the year.
Is that right?
We're going away on a cruise. I'm being held hostage on a cruise.
Was this the Mark Thompson show cruise that I wasn't invited on?
I wish. I would be reluctant to even take that cruise. But
where are you? I don't know if you know, because there's security issues, but where are you visiting?
Central and South America.
Very nice.
And you've never heard me say I really want to visit Central and South America on a cruise, because I don't really want to visit Central and South America on a cruise. But I felt to keep my, de facto marriage together, it was probably the right thing to do. We haven't taken a trip in a long time, to be fair to her, out of the country.
Well, Kim and I will hold down the fort, I would imagine.
Yes, we will.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Kim is a huge fan of yours. And
we have. Is there a this? We might as well talk office politics with everybody else. Do we have? Is there a time off for the Mark Thompson show? Will there be any time?
I don't. You mean for Kim or for what do you or
there
for you?
No,
just in general, would there be a day that there is not production, or do we work straight through till the New Year?
Well, I'm sorry, Kim. Go ahead. I think we're dark on Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah, we had Thanksgiving off, so that was nice. And then, but we had to be back on Friday because Mark's like, we're doing it. And then, and then we had we have Christmas off and we have New Year's Day off.
Okay.
So, but the rest of the time we're here. We're going to be here for you. So
yeah. We
Kim, how are you?
We feel as though we've asked for a commitment from listeners and from supporters and Patreon and PayPal, and we want to show that we have a commensurate commitment. So that's all. And the commensurate ding word. Michael, you are truly though a great asset.
Yes.
And what you guys may not know, most of you, is that Michael has been a great voice and a great political analyst during my podcast years. When I had a podcast, he was always there. And for that, I think you showed up in person a lot of the time, which is really cool. And now
I drove up the hill to
the studio. Yeah. Really cool that you continue to, be a voice here, and we so appreciate you. Yeah. Michael Shure. Thanks, Michael.
Bye.
Love it.
Yeah.
The Mark Thompson Show.
I've got the Culture Blaster waiting, Kim. So do you mind if I get right into that, or do you want to hit any kind of news capsule headlines before?
Let me just give you a couple. Can I just give you a couple headlines really quick?
So smash the like button. Kim's headline news, and then we get to the great Culture Blaster.
That'll be
so
super
Mark
fast.
Hey, which one do you use? Mark Thompson?
Who's Mark Thompson?
The Mark Thompson Show.
One of the stories I wanted to make sure you knew about this today is the Care Court is starting to take cases today here in California. This is a state-approved program allowing individuals to petition a court to order treatment and housing for people suffering from severe mental illness. This program operates in 7 California counties, including Los Angeles, Orange, Riverside, San Diego, in Southern California. The Care Court will be available in every California county by the end of the year. But again, the Care Court starts today. This group of
Such a good idea, and I'm glad it's getting underway.
Yeah, hopefully, I don't know if they iron everything out and it all works out when they start with the 7 counties. By the time they roll it out to every California county, maybe it'll be a well-oiled machine. A group of Republican senators wants President Biden to temporarily ban travel between the United States and China. That's because of a recent spike in Chinese respiratory illness cases. The lawmakers, led by Florida Senator Marco Rubio, said travel should be restricted until more is known about this pneumonia outbreak that's happening in children. They say China has a long history of lying about public health crises. So the CDC director says the outbreaks are being caused by known pathogens like the flu and RSV. It's not something new that we've never seen before. It remains to be seen as to whether any travel bans will be put in place. And when it comes to pay for law enforcement officers, California ranks first, Mississippi last. This Bureau of Labor Statistics data was used to determine the median salary for U.S. states and metro areas, adjusting for each state's cost of living. The median salary for law enforcement officers in California, $93,169. Wow. Yeah, California had 16 of the 20 top paying metro areas for police. San Jose, Sunnyvale, Santa Clara leading the way, $132,930.
That's with no overtime.
Right. In Mississippi, $43,000. Yeah. Big difference. Another thing I wanted to make sure you knew today is the express lanes are open on the 405 freeway in Orange County. Woo-hoo! You have to pay a toll to drive on those lanes from Costa Mesa all the way to Los Angeles County line.
Wow, that's cool. Let's get traffic's moving there.
It will cost a vehicle containing 1 or 2 people anywhere from $2.70 to $9.95 during peak hours. Yeah, you get a clean air vehicles get a 15% discount. And if you have 3 or more people in your car, that's a freebie. Mm-hmm.
So the Golden Gate Bridge is still more.
Yes, I'm
it's a photo finish. Yeah,
$9.95 though. It's a photo finish.
It's a beautiful ride, but it's expensive.
I would rather ride over the Golden Gate Bridge. Sorry, LA, just
How
the way
dare
it is.
You?
Well, hey, just telling it
like it is. It's a beautiful ride. So.
This report sponsored by you. We are crowdfunded, and we can't thank you enough for visiting the MarkThompsonShow.com to find the Patreon and the PayPal page. I'm Kim McAllister. This is the Mark Thompson Show.
Whoever is producing this thing has no idea what they're doing.
That's not fake. That's real.
You know, they do this to me all the time. I don't know what the hell they do it for. And I also want to know what happened to the pictures I was supposed to see this week.
There's never been anything like this.
Seriously, what the...
I've received a lot of positive letters.
Can you let him finish, sir?
No, no, no.
We have processes and protocols and standards.
Oh my God.
No. God bless America. The end.
What up, everybody? Happy holidays. I'm loving it. I love the Christmas music and the holidays. I don't really, the religious thing doesn't really jam with me super well. I just like the vibe. I'm a vibe guy, Michael Snyder. You know anything about vibes, Michael? You know anything about vibes? Don't speak yet. That's a rhetorical question. How dare you come in here and start speaking like you're some kind of guest on my show? How about it for a guy who covers movies, he covers music, covers culture. It's amazing when you think about the body of work. His writing appears in the Marina Times and beyond. He's called the Culture Blaster, Kim, for a reason. Because he blasts about the culture. And he comes and goes on a rainbow. Oh, my God, for Michael Snyder. Come on, Michael.
Good afternoon. Happy weekend. Mark, Kim, Albert, if there is a hell, and I'm not saying there is one.
Yes.
I'm curious, do you think Henry Kissinger and Richard Nixon get to share a twin-sized fiery pit? I'm just curious.
I see where you are on those two now, yes.
Well, there you go. The news has been kind of creeping up on all of us lately. And I'm a Philadelphia native, like both Hall and Oates.
Oh, that was a heartbreak, Michael.
Well, regarding those suits and countersuits, I'll just say, I can't go for that. No. Anyway, that's my favorite Hall & Oates song. Mark, before we get to the movies and TV stuff, I can't believe you're bailing out on us and your loyal audience for 3 weeks to go on a cruise. And actually, considering it's a cruise, maybe bailing out wasn't the right terminology. Of course, I enjoy doing the show with Kim whenever I have the opportunity. But seriously, Mark, 3 weeks? Can't you use like the ship to shore radio to join us on Fridays?
I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it.
Wait. I got a song. Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful cruise when Mark and Courtney boarded a ship and Marky got the blues.
Oh, my God. You're right. I loved it. I mean,
it is a little excessive.
My mic is off for some reason. I don't know.
It's a little excessive. We can hear you. It's a little excessive, Michael.
Anyway,
Snyder.
you're good, Michael. I love that. Love the song. You're right. It's not something I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, well, we will muddle through, right, Ms. McAllister?
We're going to be fine, you and I. It's going to be
I
perfect.
know.
There's never been anything like it.
I love doing the show with Kim. Anyway, it's been around 2 decades since we've had an English language movie from Hong Kong king of cinematic carnage, John Woo.
Oh, John Woo is great.
He of the slow-mo ballets of bullets, director of Chinese crime classics, including Hard Boiled and A Better Tomorrow.
Yes.
And American-produced actioners, Face Off, Hard Target, Broken Arrow, and Mission Impossible 2, among others.
Oh, right. He did Mission Impossible 2?
He did. Okay. This guy knows his way around a thriller. Well, Woo is back with Silent Night, an L.A.-based holiday shoot-'em-up starring...
I've seen the trailer.
It stars the lean and mean Joel Kinnaman.
Mm-hmm.
He's a man on a mission of revenge against gangbangers who done him wrong.
Oh, no.
So the first thing that came to mind when I heard the details was that this would be Woo's Die Hard, right?
Sure.
A tense good guy versus bad guys clash at Christmas time in the City of Angels. Although Silent Night has a few things in common with the original Die Hard, it's not really in the same league as the Bruce Willis romp at Nakatomi Plaza. If you know, you know. I mean, many people think of Die Hard as their favorite Yuletide film. Our friend Dory Barton, my little sister, adores the movie. And it's not It's a Wonderful Life or A Christmas Story or any random telling of a Christmas Carol. It's a crazy, violent action thriller set at Christmas. But in any event, a late December drive-by shooting in Silent Night leaves a child dead and his father with a throat wound that takes his voice. And so from that point on, you just know the mute dad is going to go after the people responsible for him and his wife losing their only child. With a voiceless hero and a loud soundtrack of rap and EDM pulsing away, there is very little dialogue. Thus, Silent Night.
I get it.
But it's a John Woo movie, so you're in for a lot of, creative violence, which suggests another title, Violent Night. And oh boy, daytime and nighttime, violent. Kinnaman of the RoboCop remake and the great crime series The Killing has that taut, tensile physicality and haunted demeanor that make him ideal to play Daddy Deadly. Catalina Sandino Moreno is tender and broken as his wife, and rapper and actor Kid Cudi is solid as the LA detective in the anti-gang unit who gets caught up in the melee. Look, Silent Night is lesser Woo, but it's also decent Christmas counter-programming to ward off an overdose of sweetness and light. I didn't need to be wooed to enjoy Silent Night,
my God,
which is in theaters right now.
Okay, well, so it's you kind of liked it, even though it's not a Woo classic. You don't think?
No. Do you remember the story of Mary Kayla Torno? Was that her name?
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
yeah.
So inspired by that provocative true story, which you'll figure out what that was about if you don't already know.
Sure.
May December examines a tabloid sensation, an affair between wife and mother Gracie and 13-year-old Joe, who is 23 years younger than her. And this is 20 years down the line. Now married and presumably devoted to one another, Gracie and Joe are about to celebrate the high school graduation of their twins when TV star Elizabeth shows up on the scene. Elizabeth is going to play the younger Gracie in the sort of reality-based movie that is a staple of Lifetime programming. And she has the family's permission to hang out for a few days in order to purportedly find the truth in the couple's history and relationship. Yeah. But as more and more is revealed to Elizabeth, her presence, which, to be fair, gets a bit diva-ish and you know, is sort of exploitive, right? She starts to make Gracie uncomfortable and awakens some things in Joe that may tarnish the couple's patina of happiness.
Wow. Patina is a ding word, as is another word you used, which I can't think of. Maybe Tom will remind me. Go ahead.
Could it be presence? Could
no.
it be?
It was a real legit ding word you used prior to patina, but then patina distracted me.
Yeah, sure. Having the superb actresses Julianne Moore as Gracie and Natalie Portman as Elizabeth in a mirroring on-screen duet is a coup.
Thank you. Purportedly.
For the decorated filmmaker Todd Haynes, the guy who did Carol, Far From Heaven, Dark Waters, Velvet Goldmine. The guy, you know, has done some magnificent films. He directed them. And the women are a delight for us to watch. And I kind of buried the lead because it's Julianne Moore and Natalie Portman, but I wanted to get the setup, that crazy relationship that ends up being tabloid fodder.
Oh, it's a great idea. So you're saying they had the relationship and now they've come back years later.
No, they've had the relationship. It's been ongoing, and we joined them 20 years down the line.
Oh, we joined them 20. Okay, so it's been ongoing. Okay.
Mention should be made of actor Charles Melton's moving performance as Joe. Melton is best known as high school troublemaker Reggie on the Archie Comics TV series Riverdale. I hardly expected this terrific performance out of him, but he absolutely holds his own in the company of Moore and Portman, boasting a finely honed screenplay by Sammy Birch. May December is amusing, disturbing, and clever as it addresses media exploitation, the perils of notoriety, the lingering nature of scandal, and the tragedy that can result from heedless choices. With Moore and Portman in excellent form and Haynes behind the lens, we're in good hands. Yet the circumstances of Gracie and Joe's union might be, shall we say, unconventional, but there's nothing lurid about May December, which in kind of meta fashion also foreshadows the movie that's going to feature Elizabeth as Gracie, you know, the obviously film within a film situation. Although it kind of moves at a studied pace, it is a potent experience from beginning to end. And May December has been in theaters and is now streaming on Netflix as of today.
Oh, that's kind of cool because I feel a streamer on that one. Heedless, as Tom says, is a ding word, and I think lurid is a ding word. Oh yeah, here lurid is noted by Tom as well.
All this dinging I find lurid, but let's move on. Right. As apocalypses go, the one depicted in Leave the World Behind should keep you fixated on the screen throughout because I certainly was enraptured by it. Not that it's about the rapture.
Enraptured. Yeah.
And not that it isn't about the rapture. In any case, the mysteries of what's going on and why it's happening would be enough to make the movie a ride and a half. It's written and directed by Sam Esmail, the man who created and wrote and directed the wonderful high-tech puzzle box of a TV series, Mr. Robot. So as a devotee of Mr. Robot, with mad respect for Esmail, I was primed for Leave the World Behind, and I was not disappointed. It didn't hurt that the cast is headlined by Julia Roberts, Ethan Hawke, and Mahershala Ali.
Wow.
With support from Kevin Bacon. These are big names that have earned their fame. To set the scene, burned out but well-heeled New York professionals Amanda and Clay, that would be Roberts and Hawke, want to get away for a weekend, so they take their earbud-wearing son and iPad-watching daughter to a super upscale vacation home on Long Island, and shortly after arriving, crazy stuff starts happening, including power outages. So things really start to go nuts when a tuxedoed man, played by Ali, shows up at the house with his daughter, played by Mahershala, and says he's the owner who rented to Amanda and Clay, claims there's a catastrophe going down in the city and perhaps way beyond, and asks to stay for the night. So suspicion and tension run high when natural and electronic forces continue to go haywire. Esmail is awfully good at finding the potential horror in postmodern society and at dramatizing the risks of technology unleashed and unregulated. His ability to contextualize this in a narrative with wonky characters that are brought to vivid life by upper-tier actors make Leave the World Behind something more than the usual apocalyptic fright fest. It is in theaters now, and will be on Netflix next Friday. But I wanted to talk about it because in Los Angeles and New York, people can see this in a movie theater. And it's
contextualize is a ding word. So you like this film?
Very much.
Okay, wow, very much. Okay, very good.
Yeah, there's no caveats, you know.
Okay, got it. Not trying to get you to give me any, just trying to
we've been here before, but it's cool. It's cool. So contrary to the season with all its joy to the world and ho ho ho, Eileen is decidedly not a feel-good treat for Christmas time. Instead, it is a damned good, mystery-laden 1960s period drama that brings two seemingly different women together in the dead of winter, sets them on a troubling path, and deftly reveals their surprisingly dark inner workings. Again, this is two terrific female actresses working opposite one another, kind of like May December. And I will tell you who they are. As portrayed by Thomasin McKenzie, who was so good in Last Night in Soho, Eileen is a quiet and distant girl working in the office of a youth detention center, or if you prefer, prison for beginners. I don't know. Anyway, to be brutally honest, Eileen is a little shabby, even dumpy in her presentation. So one dreary day, a totally glam babe named Dr. Rebecca St. John, played by a blonde, brassy, and impish Anne Hathaway.
Girl, you just woo.
Appears at the prison office, and she's there to take on the job of counselor. And Eileen is thoroughly smitten with her. So Rebecca befriends Eileen, and their comradeship seems to unlock something in the younger woman, something unexpected.
Wow.
And maybe a little,
have you ever seen anything like this?
Maybe a little left up. Maybe a little left up. It turns out that one of the prisoners is of particular interest to Rebecca, which leads to shocking complications. So Mackenzie and Hathaway not only nail their respective characters, they have incredible chemistry, beautifully playing off one another, especially when things start getting weird. And Shea Whigham, who was so good in Perry Mason and Boardwalk Empire and numerous other films and TV shows, is typically great as Eileen's abusive alcoholic dad. Eileen was directed in very no-nonsense style by William Oldroyd, and it fits the spare nature of the setting. And meanwhile, the script by Luke Goebel and Otessa Moshfegh, adopting Moshfegh's novel, portions out the twists and turns in a kind of methodical way that drags you deeper and deeper into the murk of Eileen's world. It is in theaters.
It sounds like you like that too.
I did. It's been a banner day.
Yeah,
the least of the movies, probably to this point, probably the Silent Night film, but it still had so much fun at it, it doesn't really.
Give me one more real quick, please.
All right, quickly. One of the true greats among the world's directors is Japan's Hirokazu Korida, whose profoundly affecting movies include Shoplifters, Broker, and the incredibly heartbreaking Nobody Knows, all of which have to do in one way or another with the provenance of children at risk. And his latest is called Monster, and it too deals with child welfare in the context of school bullying, but it also concerns parental neglect, youthful friendship, the implicit failings of educational systems, and the ways perspective impacts our notions of reality. And the latter, basically it's about a kid who seems to be physically harmed by his teacher. And this kind of launches his single mother into a campaign to hold that teacher to task for what he's done. But it's absolutely so much more than that. And that could be a misconception on the part of the mom. So this reminded me of Akira Kurosawa's innovative samurai classic from 1950, Rashomon, with the way it addresses a series of events seen by a series of different people and how those different points of view distort or only show a small part of the bigger picture. This is, again, beautifully done. There is a lovely score by the late Ryuichi Sakamoto, his final composition for movies, I think. Korida is truly one of the greats, and I thought that in many ways, Monster was up with his best.
Wow.
It's in theaters.
I love those other offerings that you referred to besides Monster that he directed. Heartbreaking, as you say. I mean, this is a guy who really knows how to direct a motion picture. So Monster is in theaters, and Michael really likes it. Is it, what was the Anne Hathaway?
It's called Eileen.
It's called Eileen, Thomasin McKenzie and Anne Hathaway. They end up in a it's a youth, sounds like what did you call it?
Correctional facility.
Correctional facility.
I'm trying
right.
to be delicate about saying prison.
And Anne Hathaway walks in, and all
Girl, you just
dude, she sachets in.
She sachets in, and all hell breaks loose. So there's a relationship there, and it sounds like it really unfolds with two, at minimum, two virtuoso performers. Although it sounds as though there are many other contributing elements on this that make it a winner. Says Michael Snyder.
I do.
Leave the world behind is the apocalypse, maybe something going on that might be apocalypse related. Leave the world behind is from the creator of Mystery Robot.
Mr. Robot, yes.
Mr. Robot.
Which is a mystery.
By the way, Mr. Robot is, I'm just realizing that I've said mystery, but Mr. Robot is a lauded offering from this creator. And this one, Leave the World Behind, was lauded here today by the Culture Blaster.
I thought it was really good. Really
like
good.
Julia Roberts and Mahershala Ali and Ethan Hawke.
Yeah.
And excellent director, and it's worth a look. And it's in theaters, and I believe coming to streaming as well. Is that what you were saying?
Netflix next Friday.
Netflix next Friday. And then May, December, the Julianne Moore piece. The May, December story involves a relationship among two women or between two women, and we catch up with it through the many years that they have been together.
Wrong. It's a relationship between a younger, way younger, a teenager and a married woman, and we catch up to them 20 years later.
It's two women, though, isn't it? Between two women, they had a relationship, and we're catching up with them many years later.
No, it's not between two women. It's between a man, a young man. It's a teenage boy.
Why do they have two women in the poster?
The woman... The two women are the woman who was the, shall we say, potentially predatory older woman in a relationship with a younger young man, and the woman who's going to portray her in a kind of a low-budget film or an independent movie.
See.
You just don't get it.
I don't get it.
I know you're sleepwalking, Mark, but goodness.
I did not get it. Thank you very much for re-explaining it. Anyway, he loved it, is the point. May, December is what it's called. And Silent Night is the John Woo dialogue sparse offering, which involves
vengeance.
Yeah, vengeance and violence.
Action and vengeance. You know, I enjoyed it to a point. Not his best work. Yeah, I feel bad about this. I know our pal Tim Sika on Nikki's show reviewed Godzilla -0 earlier. I have not been able to see it, and it's kind of breaking my heart. But quickly, I have been watching Monarch: Legacy of Monsters on Apple TV, and it's made by the creative consortium behind the MonsterVerse franchise that actually brings Godzilla, King Kong, and other giant beasts together in various battles. And this is about the secret international organization, Monarch, dedicated to studying and creating a defensive force against what are deemed titans, and like Godzilla and Kong. And I'm enjoying it so far. And
this has nothing to do with Silent Night. You've now moved on.
Yeah, I absolutely wanted to just say that I'm heartbroken that I haven't seen the Godzilla movie that's in theaters now, because everyone says it's wonderful. So I've had to satisfy myself with Godzilla as a supporting player on Monarch: Legacy of Monsters, which is on Apple. And stars Kurt Russell as a Monarch operative and Wyatt Russell as him, that's his son, as a young man in his younger years. Anyway,
so that's Monarch: Legacy of Monsters
Indeed.
that Michael segued in quite seamlessly into. Tom has noted a bunch of stuff. Methodical's a ding word. Deftly is a ding word. Caveat is a ding word.
I use
Provenance
these words
is a ding
in
word.
normal
Sachet
conversation.
is a ding word.
Sachet.
And virtuoso is a ding word. No, that's the point. We don't ding things if they're used and they're not used in normal conversation. You did use them all in normal conversation. I'll just give you a...
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Ouch.
Very well done.
Ouch. Okay. How many times have they said sachet on RuPaul's Drag Race? Come on, people.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. Michael, we love you. You've done great work all year. I'll miss you for the rest of the year, but thank you for all of your support and for being who you are.
Well, thank you.
You're someone who, you cover so much, and we do appreciate it.
Go 49ers. And Kim, you and I will be going at it hammer and tong, or holly and eggnog next Friday.
He comes and goes on a rainbow. Bye-bye, Michael.
Go Niners!
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. The great culture blaster, whenever he comes through, it's always a good thing.
The Mark Thompson Show.
I could stay all day, Albert. I really could. But I feel that we must move on. I mean, there are responsibilities in the rest of the day that we must attend to. Best Christmas song, Green Sleeve, says A-Golf. Albert, thank you, says Dan.
That was from Dan, yeah.
Who has better hair? That's the real question. Edward Lee, that was about the debate. Ron DeSantis, yeah, really cool. Pinky with $1 a day. Thank you, Pink, for always being with us and supporting us.
Big shout out.
Mark is a vegan, but if on a cruise, he will consume a lot of meat, fish, and chicken. I will never consume meat, fish, or chicken ever again as long as I live, but thank you, and you're right. It may be slim pickings for me. Can't we take Kim, Tony, and Albert on the cruise and take the MT show on the high seas? I love that idea. I love that idea.
Bye-bye.
After Party Live's going on right now. Guys, have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for the support. Until Monday. Bye-bye.